Hello, I'm very happy today because I'm here with a very dear friend of mine. She's Ceci Vasquez from AFS Guatemala. Welcome to the channel.
Hi, Rodrigo. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to see you again.
Thank you very much. So, Ceci, what is AFS for you?
Well, AFS for me is a change maker. AFS for me is an organization that changed my life and that has helped me to contribute to change many people's life through different exchange programs. But it's not just that. AFS is an organization that empowers young people to become active global citizens. That means give them the essential skills and the passion for making a difference in this world.
What is the global citizen?
Well, for us, a global citizen sees themselves as members of the community. They recognize the challenges that the world faces today and recognizes that these challenges are interdependent and that our choices and our action can have consequences to the community, both at a local and at a global level. A global citizen gets involved in the interactions, in the appropriate and effective ways of dealing with people of different cultures, but most importantly, they take an active role towards finding a solution, both globally and locally.
What does a person need to have to become a global citizen?
Well, the first thing that a person needs is to be willing to be a global citizen, right? Like in anything in life, right? You need to want to do it, right? But a global citizen is a person that has certain skills, such as problem solving, teamwork, empathy, critical thinking. That's very important. All what we call now the 21st centuries or the soft skills, but I call them super powerful skills, right? Because they're not soft.
I agree with you. What's your role at AFS right now, Ceci?
Well, I wear two hats, as I say. The first one is I'm the executive director for AFS Guatemala. That means I'm in charge of the whole organization here in Guatemala, and helping students to go abroad, helping students to come to Guatemala, helping teachers and schools know more about this. But at the same time, I now, since a couple of years ago, I'm working with ALEI. ALEI is the regional alliance. That means it's the group of the different AFS organizations in Latin America, from Mexico to Argentina, that get together to propose or to make or to deliver programs, especially for teachers and schools, for them to know more about intercultural learning and learn more about how to develop these active global citizenships in the classroom, in the school, and in the community.
And how was the ALEI project born?
Well, that's a long story, but let me try to make it short. AFS worldwide is organized by regions. So there's the one region that is the Asian Pacific region that has, the different organizations from Asia and the Pacific. Then there's, of course, the region in Africa. Then there's a region in Europe. They call it a federation for intercultural learning. And so here in Latin America, it has been a process. We've gone through different stages. We had two regions. We had one for the Caribbean countries, and then we had one for the South Cone countries. But then we thought, you know what? We speak the same language. We have similar interests. Why don't we get together and work? But of course, America is not all Spanish speaking, right? It's, of course, the big group of Brazil, and of course, the big group of the English speaking countries.
Yeah.
At some point we were one, but we decided together with Brazil and the Spanish speaking countries to dare to dream and create projects together.
How are these projects today? What can you tell us?
Well, one of the favorite projects that we had before pandemics was a program called Teachers with Purpose, right? And this was a program that we loved, and it was to give the teachers the opportunity to have a 2-week exchange in a different country and in a different culture. And so for that reasons, we had teachers, for example, from Guatemala going to Chile, from Argentina going to Brazil, from Brazil going to Colombia. I mean, teachers were going for 2 weeks to get to know a different educational system, live in a host family, and be in a school, be it as a shadow teacher or even, actually delivering some lessons.
Yes.
But obviously, pandemics changed that, and we were not able to do that anymore. And the other project that we really liked was we did every year one symposium or one big conference, teacher conference, especially or education conference. And actually, you and I met on the first one that was in Dominican Republic, right?
Yes.
In 2017, if I'm correct?
Yeah.
And so, but anyhow, that had to change in 2020, of course. Even though we had it all organized for it to be in Buenos Aires, the education conference, we had to cancel it because it was going to be in May.
Yeah.
So what happened? What did we do? We started. We decided, hey, wait a second. We cannot meet in person, but thank God we have Zoom and different tools. And so we started the first Ibero-American Week for intercultural for global citizenship education, and that was 5 days of conferences for teachers on different topics. We had ministers of education come to our week of learning. We had teachers, principals. We even had ambassadors attending them. And we had it was 14 events that we had for teachers and for teenagers to come and learn more about global citizenship education, intercultural learning, and how to become a more active global citizen.
Yeah.
After that, it was a success. We had 60,000 or something registrations. And so most of them said, okay, so what's next? And so the team of LA sat down and thought, you know what's next is Global Wednesdays. And so we decided that every Wednesday we still have this year, one meeting in which we get together with teachers and we learn more about global citizenship and global citizenship education. We had this past Wednesday, we had the October Global Wednesday, and it was celebrating being a teacher. As you know, October 5th was the International Teachers Day. So obviously the Global Wednesday of October was let's rethink our role as educators, as teachers, and our very crucial and important role in developing these active global citizens in our classroom and beyond.
Awesome.
So basically, that's what we're doing now for this 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
We did the Ibero-American Week. And this year, I don't know if you know, but on 2021, the Ibero-American Week was dedicated to Paulo Freire.
Wow,
right?
I love it.
Educator, yes. And so we had 1 week of different events in which we wanted to find the relationship between the legacy of Paulo Freire and developing active global citizenship. Obviously, he didn't call it active global citizens, but he gave very important bases for teachers to start developing them. And we were honored to have Nina Freire, his wife, with us, who spoke to us about his legacy and those things that you cannot see in a book, but it's like we were having a coffee with her, and it was an amazing session that if you want to look at it, it's in the YouTube channel of LA. But still, what's important is AFS makes a difference, and wants to create these active global citizens that are going to change the world as Paulo Freire did 100 years ago.
Yes, awesome. If you allow me, I would like to tell my audience that LA has a very special place in my heart, because I have developed a program with my dear friend Tati Casal, who's a person who everybody knows at AFS. I developed a program with him for people with disabilities to travel. And it was at LA that I found my dear friend Doris and Lulu, their national director, if I'm not mistaken, at the time. And we got together and we had the chance to bring the first person with a disability to Brazil. It was an alliance with Mexico. And I want you to know, Ceci, and everybody from LA who's watching this interview, that I am so grateful to you guys. And I'm so grateful to Doris to see this project happening. And it was so successful, so great. I had the chance to go to Brasilia, the capital of Brazil. It was a surreal moment to me. So thank you very much.
I know. And you know, with that project, you set the bar so high. It was a project that really opened our eyes to many of us. You know, we usually talk in global citizenship about accepting differences, about diversity, but sometimes we focus the diversity and the differences to certain topics. But we, as those who work with global citizenship and diversity, we need to broaden that spectrum. And, you know, diversity is not only sexual orientation, it's not only cultural diversity, it is so much more, right? It is physical, emotional, spiritual diversity. And we at AFS, we, in my opinion, we should strive and try to include that the broad spectrum of diversity into our programs. And you said, and sometimes we say, well, you know, that is not so easy to do, and certainly it is, right? But at the same time, the project that you started with Doris also inspired, let me share with you the story, also inspired AFS Guatemala to do one exchange program we started in 2018, obviously 2019, and then we couldn't repeat it in 2020. But it was, we had our first student with sight disability. He was not totally blind, but partially, who traveled to the UK for a program. Yeah, he traveled he was in a group, but you know, when the parents came to us and said, Ceci, this was in a school group, right? They were going to Cardiff for, I think it was 3-4 weeks on their school break to improve their English. Yes. So when the parents said, this was a student of one school, and when the parents said, Ceci, can we send our kid? He has a sight impairment. And I'm like, you know what? Of course you can send him. Obviously, we needed to work with the hosting organization, the hosting family, and you know, but it is, what I'm trying to say here is, we at AFS and at any organization need to be more inclusive, sensitive, and more with a purpose to search these type of opportunities. Right? Not just, you know, if it happens, we do it. No, let's look for them. Let's look to include everyone in our programs.
While I was the chairman for Brazil for 3.5 years, I searched with them in Rio, but I think that I was the first person with disability who was a chairman for a country at AFS. And that makes me really proud.
And I think, Rodrigo, that you, as I said, you set the bar for us differently. Because, yes, at AFS, we talk, as I said, a lot of diversity, inclusion, and so on and so forth. But our international conferences, when you were coming, I was part of the organization team, and they were saying, okay, so now we really need to look for a hotel or a venue that offers Rodrigo, some space.
Yes.
So we needed to, just as when we intentionally look, let's say, for the menu for those vegans or, gluten-free options. Okay, so being, yes, inclusive towards the diversity in diets. Well, and we need to look for a venue also for those meetings that were also inclusive for people with a certain
disability. Well, and I think that
you made us walk the talk. That's what you did with us.
I agree. And to finish, what is the advice that you can give for all those English language students that are watching us right now? Maybe they're not only English language students, they study every kind of language. What can you tell them to motivate them to do their exchange or whatever?
Well, I was an English teacher once. I don't know if you knew that. I started my career in education as a teacher of English, right? And what I always told my students was, there were many things, but one of the things was, don't be afraid to make mistakes, right? You need to be empowered and look for that different language and learn it and use it, regardless if it's not perfect, right? What you're saying or what you're doing. I also told them that the best way to learn a language is to use a language, right? And it's joint, right? And so use it while watching TV, take off the subtitles in your TV or in the YouTube, take off the subtitles or put them in English, but use it, sing in English, read in English. And if you have the chance, yes, go live the language, because the language is so much more. The language is part of the culture. So if you can have the opportunity to travel to an English-speaking country, not as a tourist, but as a student, as a person who's going to be fully immersed in that culture, just do it. Just do it. It really changes lives to know a different language. It opens your mind. It gives you more opportunities, working opportunities, life opportunities. Don't miss those because of fear of learning a new language.
I agree with you entirely. Thank you for those lovely words. And I hope that my audience agrees. To finish, we're going to play the rapid round game. So I'm going to start the rapid round game now. Ceci, family for me is?
My rock.
AFS for me is?
AFS for me is amazing and change-making.
Global citizenship is?
Necessary.
I define peace as
respect to differences.
The world needs a change right now. That would be?
That would be, again, respect for differences and embracing differences.
Yes. The last one, my next station will be?
Oh, that's a hard one. My next station will be happiness.
Now you can ask me the questions.
My wife is?
My rock.
Okay. My kids are?
A mirror to me.
My students are?
Part of my day.
My country is?
Huge.
And the world is?
An oyster.
Oh, wonderful. I like that.
To finish, I always have a sentence, a quote, and a takeaway. And for you is going to be very, very special, because when I met you, we had a sit down and we talked for a long time. and I never forget that conversation. I was very shy because everything was really new to me. And something that I learned from that conversation, I'm going to bring an African sentence here, which is Ubuntu. Translating to English is I am because we are. And I think that AFS is because we are. I really, really, really respect Alay, and I really, really like you. Thank you so very much for taking your time to have a conversation with me, to put this interview on the channel, and we can spread the word of global citizenship around the world with AFS much, much more. Thank you so much. You are so lovely.
Thank you, Rodrigo. It has been my absolute honor and pleasure to meet you and to count you into those that I call my close friends in Brazil.
Thank you so much.
A big hug.
See you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you. See you.
Bye.
Hello, it's Rod's friend here, Gino from Real Everyday English. Sorry for interrupting your video. I just want to make a quick recommendation that you subscribe to Rodrigo's channel. He's an amazing guy. He's so humble. He's so dedicated. And he creates absolutely fantastic content. See you people soon. Bye-bye. God bless.